Hey y'all, thought I was done tonight. Thought I was done, uh, making videos. But, I can't get this stupid camera looking right. Okay. Donald Trump, in one of his rallies, spent the first 15 minutes talking about golf and his own disjointed stories. But he then talked about the size of Arnold Palmer's penis while they were in the showers. I don't know about you, but I find that kind of a little. Well, first of all, people bring their children to these things. God knows why, but um, my head hurts with this one. But you're supposed to be the party of the Bible, and you're talking about a man's penis size. And not only that, but this is not like a hi, how you doing kind of fellowship event. This is supposed to be a rally for a campaign to be president of the United States of America. And he's talking about some guy's penis and how impressive he was. And I don't understand how the polls show them as a close race. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris is laying out solid plans, line by line, of what she's planning on a variety of topics. And still, like Fox and, some of these Newsmax and shit like this, oh, well, she just laughs at everything. Oh my God, if that is not projection, I don't know what is, but what's even scarier is that you guys are believing it because you won't read the things. You won't read. I just put up something that I posted on Facebook from actually a channel I don't never watched before, but it was about black men being brought Project 2025 binder and asking them to please read it. And they're filming, not while they're reading, but and I gotta tell you, every single one that they showed, really, I mean, some of them hadn't even heard of it, but they didn't realize how much there really was. They figured the couple things that were mentioned, well, I don't know about that type of thing. But every single one of them said, I think the channel was Hip Hollywood. But, yeah, that's very disturbing that the people that need to really know are women and people of color. Well, basically, everybody except white men will be screwed. And even white men, if you don't have a family name or something like that, or a business that a public figure kind of a name, even you are probably screwed to some degree. But I am just astounded. 3 weeks from election, and people are still not not looking at Project 2025. Even look at Agenda 47. That's way shorter. That's Trump's 47. That's Trump's kind of concept of plans. But, I mean, that's like a million times shorter, for real. But, because Project 2025, the full thing is like a binder. Like, dudes, like, it's like a binder. And it's not big type either. I've had many a night of eye strain just going through that shit and just like, oh my God. And they make it, difficult to understand in the sense that they do a lot of word salady shit and then slip something in when they've got you kind of like, if you're not really paying attention, take a break or something and keep alert, because if you're just reading it, they slip shit in. You get to be like, oh yeah, blah blah. Okay, so, and then you skim over like 2 words that change the entire sentence. That kind of sneaky crap, or it's just a bunch of word salad that really just circles back to it didn't mean anything, and that was your explanation of that. And it's truly, if you don't want to go through Project 2025, look at Agenda 47. Even that should be enough to terrify you. If you're a woman or a person of color, male or female, I don't know why you're voting for Trump. You honestly think he has your back because he tells you? He told you a lot of things that were lies. He said he's the one that got insulin down. He got part of a program down, but Biden got it down to 35 for everybody, not just the older people. I have a nephew who's like 31 or something like that. 33, something like that. He's been on insulin since he's, I think, 9. What about those people? So, the fact that the polls are so close, and, okay, women, any woman, and any person of color, why do you think he won't screw you over and throw you under the bus as soon as he gets what he wants, like he has done to all of his lawyers, all of his attorneys, all of his business associates, his own administration? Like 41 out of 44 of them said they will never, ever work with that man again. He's immoral. He's deceitful. He's a liar. He's a cheat. He's a fraud. He's nothing that he says he is. And he's just a big Trump lump. He's a Trump lump. And old Lumpy Trumpy. And I really would like to know, hey, Munchie, I really would like to know why you're so adamant on he won't do that to us. We've had his back all along. Well, Michael Cohen had his back like any of you fevered people. He was so devoted to Donald, to old Lumpy, that he told him it was against the law, and he did what he did for him. Donald said he would back him up, he would pardon, He didn't do shit for him. Same thing with Giuliani. He hasn't even paid him for shit. As soon as Rudy got into trouble, old Lumpy was Gone with his bone spurs. Old Lumpy Bone Spurs is a liar. And if you think, oh, I'll be the one that changes him, our base, we're the ones that he really cares about. He doesn't give a shit about you. And he only cares until he gets your vote. Then he doesn't give an F about you. All you women and all you people of color that either have voted for him or plan to vote for him, get ready for a huge disappointment, because he's going to break up with you. And if you've ever been broken up with before, it's going to be that times 1,000, because he is breaking up with you and ruining, literally, not only your life, but your children's lives and everybody in this country's lives. And he's going to affect everybody on the planet, too, negatively with America if it changes. How do you think that's good? You really think that's what your God wants? Is that what you're thinking? That, I mean, I thought your God loved everybody. Why is he so concentrated on Donald and the Trump family in America? Why are we the only ones that God cares about in your minds? Apparently, that's your reasonings. Lumpy is lying to you. He is using you like the most narcissistic and controlling boyfriend you've ever had. That is what Lumpy Trumpy is. He has fondled his daughter since she was a child. You've seen the pictures of the way he touches her on stage, and she still lets him. She's in her 40s, and she lets him. Her children see Grandpa doing that to their mommy. You think they're going to grow up with any morals? Don Jr. at the RNC had a makeup station, and him and his teenage daughter, she's like 18 or something, were getting makeup side by side, and he's got the little cape on. They both, and he says he's doing a selfie because he's just as enamored with himself as his dad is with himself. He's just as narcissistic, and he says, he looks at his daughter, he goes, "Oh, you look sexy. Do I look sexy? You look sexy." Something like that. "Do I look as sexy as you?" or something like that. I'm like, that's your freaking daughter, you skank. Why do you people that vote for him or going to vote for him, please tell me why you just keep negating all of that? I mean, if it was one-off thing type of, but all of it for decades. And you say with one side of your mouth that you're Christian and you believe the Bible, and you know, and yet he's like feeling up his daughter her whole life, and you have no problem with that. You have no problem with a guy cheating on all three wives. And he cheated on every single one of them. We're not even talking politics at this point. I'm talking about him as a human being. You guys lost your freaking minds when Bill Clinton got a blowjob by a girl in a blue jam dress. Well, Clinton didn't sidle up to dictators. So I'm not saying it was okay. I was disgusted by him. And I couldn't fathom why Hillary stayed by him. But compared to the shit we've seen with Donald, with Lumpy Trump, That's like, please. That's like, oh, he read the wrong comic. I mean, seriously, compared to what old Lumpy's been doing, I just don't, I don't understand what you see in him. He lies. And he lies to the people that are supposed to be his team. He lies to his lawyers. These are like, he lies to the judges. He's lied. They've caught him in lies in court. People, what is his redeeming quality? Meanwhile, all you guys want to do is, well, Kamala just laughs so much. Well, Kamala, doesn't really get in depth. Well, Kamala doesn't. Yeah. Well, Donald has canceled the other debate. Now he's canceling not only rallies, but he's canceling him being present at like podcasts, interviews, all of that. He's canceling all of it. What do you find so intriguing, so redeeming in this lumpy scum Trump? What do you see in him? I because she's black and she's a woman? Is that all it is? Because I really suspect any of you that are still bad-mouthing her and lying and supporting Trump, you're either a bigot and a racist, or you're stupid. I'm sorry, but nobody can see all of these things in business, in personal life, in everything he has done. It's been a hack, a scam. His marriages were just so he could look presentable. Seriously, people. Stop it, Smudgy. Stop it. I don't understand why you expect 1,000% from Kamala and you're accepting 5% from Trump. Why? Why? What has he done? You do know that the movie The Apprentice, the reason he's been trying to get it to be stopped from being put out is because it tells the truth. When he blew up and got really big and popular when The Apprentice started and during that run, because they built him up and made everybody believe that he was richer than he was, more successful than he was, more liked by fellow businessmen than he was, more moral than he was. They made him and something that he wasn't. And he just, it went to his head. He believed the same things. He believed he was that rich. He believed he was that powerful. He believed he was that beloved by women, that he could have any woman on the earth that he wanted. And even then, when I was, in my 20s and 30s, you start seeing shit about people. He made me sick then. He made me disgusted then. I've always been disgusted by the man. And as I got older and, I lived in Jersey. That's where I was born. And at 18, I went to Tucson, Arizona. I was there for like 32 years. Been back here since like 2 weeks before Sandy hit. Welcome back to Jersey. But the fact that I'm 30 minutes from his from his graveyard is very annoying to me. Knowing that there's times that he's 30 minutes away from me, it just makes my skin crawl. And I am not alone. And I just want to know, what is so intriguing? It's got to be this, either, like I said, racism and bigotry, or you simply are gullible and you would have fallen for Charlie Manson. You guys, that's basically, if Charlie Manson came along, y'all would have been his followers and killing for him. Because this makes no sense. We're not haters, okay? We're not the ones that make lies about other cultures, nationalities eating things and putting scare tactics into Americans for people that aren't white. You don't have any problems with a French person and a German person marrying, because they're both white, basically. Why? They're completely radical cultures. Why? How come you don't have a problem with that? Huh? How come? I'm just asking questions. Isn't that who your beloved little Tucker Carlson? I'm just asking questions. So I'm asking questions. Riddle me that. Answer me. You have no problem with, like, Latinos or Hispanic or Spanish people marrying, like, Asian people or black people, any of those people intermarrying, you don't have too much of a problem with. It's only when they marry white people that you have a problem. Why? Asian and black and Hispanic, Spanish, Mexican kind of people aren't all similar. They're completely different from each other, just like they're different from white. So why is it okay for you for that, as long as it's not another race with a white person? How come? Why is that? Because that's definition of racist. Yeah, it is. You didn't know that. Oh, well, yeah, it is. Yeah. So if you don't like being called a racist or a bigot, which means you're just like racism, bigotry is racism about anything. So every racist is a bigot, but not every bigot is a racist. People can be bigoted for against trans or gay or LGBT or that community, or they're bigoted with people with blue eyes, or they hate fat people, or they hate short people, or they hate tall people, or they hate whatever stupid oh, I hate people with ginger hair, redheads, or oh, I hate them. That's bigotry. That is hating a specific group of humans for no logical, just hating a group. And racism is hating people that aren't your color skin. Or shall I say your hue of skin. So I don't understand how you don't follow your own bigotry. You don't follow your own things that you hate, because it just doesn't. It's not it just varies. However, as long as it's not somebody with a white person, you're all good and fine and dandy with that. And I find that utterly disgusting. The fact that you think a little few cells is a person, and they have more rights than the person that they're actually a parasite of, because actually a fetus is considered a parasite in a sense. I mean, technically, because they can't survive on their own, and they need another living being to get sustenance from. So That's a parasite. I mean, oh, and while we're talking about abortion and shit like that, I got another little thing for you. You guys are all bent about the time that they become. I mean, other than you guys who think the minute the sperm touches an egg, it's a child, it's a human, which isn't the fact. But you consider when it's a human, when it's the viability, science wise. And so everybody has this big thing about when does the heart beat. Actually, that 6-week date, that's not an actual heartbeat. That's just electrical impulses because they're not that same even beat all the time. So say that's when they first have a heartbeat, then they're human, then they're viable. That's not true at all, because what do you need to be able to function on your own without being sustained by another person? What do you need in your body? Of course, you need your heart. Heart has to be developed enough that it can survive well enough until it, finishes developing. What else? Yeah, you could say the brain, but I mean, you don't need the brain per se to be fully. I mean, people have had damaged brains or have been born with half brains, but it's enough to have the body function. And I'm not trying to be mean. The only other thing are lungs. They cannot live without lungs. I don't care what life support they're on. If their lungs are not developed, they're not going to be able to be viable on their own. And it's not just a little help. I mean, we're talking. The lungs, if you don't know, are the last organ to fully develop, to finish developing. They might relatively earlier, they develop, they start, but that stops for other things, like the nerves and all that stuff has to start too. And the lungs aren't going to be used right now. So they're not used fully until they have to breathe air. They're not fully developed until like the 8th month or something like that. The last several weeks, because I know my twins were, I had eclampsia. And it was, they pushed it as far as they could. Because every second that the babies are in when they're multiples makes a difference. I mean, 5 minutes can make a difference between them making it or not. And I'm going to start tearing up because one of my boys passed. Not from COVID. It was from a thing that we didn't know either of them have, and they do, and it's a rare thing. Didn't even get to celebrate their 16th birthday together. Sorry. And I was in my 7th month, and I was gonna go into, the doctor was, he made me come back after I was getting, ultrasounds, 2 nurses every time, like 2 to 3 times a week towards, after the 6th month. And my blood pressure has always been good to low, but it was and the blood gases where he was really scared. In fact, they had me come back because he was like, they're too young, 7 months, they're just too young to be viable. Their lungs aren't ready, but you're gonna go into seizures. The things, eclampsia doesn't necessarily hurt the babies, but it can put the mom into seizures if it gets bad enough. And once that happens, you can't have a natural childbirth, obviously, if I'm seizing. And you can't have a C-section if the person is seizing. You can't give them anesthesia, and it would be a very bad thing. So at 7 months, they brought me in and they put me on magnesium and steroids that help hasten the growth, the development of the lungs. Because they needed to get the damn babies out of me, or it was going to kill me, the eclampsia. But if I got them out right, that minute, without the meds, starting to get into them through my bloodstream, we could have a problem with them. They might not make it even on the NIC the NICU. So it's like the ICU, but it's for neonatal. But for like 4 days, they gave me the steroid, and it was just a waiting game. They were basically waiting till I nearly went into seizures, till I was almost having a real... These damn flies. Missed them. But because when you have multiples, you have to have a full team, which is like a doctor, an intern, like 3 nurses for each child. So I just had 2, so that was like 2 full teams. That's a lot of people, because you need a full team for each child. When there's triplets or quads or something, there's like 3 dozen people, in the operating rooms. It's ridiculous. And I do remember that the steroids that they give for the lungs really makes you, it makes you sweat bad. And the nurses all know the patients, they give them, I think it's the magnesium that makes the sweating. The magnesium has to be given to reduce the chance of seizures. But that makes you so fucking hot that they have to put the rooms, and it wasn't just me, is all the moms, any person on magnesium has to have the room down to like 50 for you to be comfortable. So the nurses all know to grab their sweaters when they go into those rooms, because it's going to be cold in there. You're just like, even then, you're just like, sheets are just covered in sweat. It's just, ugh. And you can't stop it because you're trying to save both babies, So there's a lot that needs to be done, and that was at 7 months. Obviously, without the steroids or anything like that, they wouldn't have been viable at all. And my point is, everybody makes a big thing about abortion as that heartbeat. When it's just impulses, it's not an actual heartbeat, because the heart is not developed fully enough to actually beat. So it's not an actual, it's the beginnings, it's the preamble of a heartbeat. It's an electrical impulse, but it's not a heartbeat, because there's no fully developed heart to beat. Same thing with the lungs. So why is that even an issue? Because of the lung. Nobody ever brings up the lung issue. But when I asked a GYN and OBGYN about that, and I didn't tell them either way of how I, for what I thought about abortion, I just asked about that, and she agreed. She said, "No, you're correct. The heartbeat thing, they still wouldn't be viable, because if you forced her not, they wouldn't be viable at that age, lung wise. Not to mention, some other things. But yeah, Something that you don't hear anybody talking about. Anyway, I'm going to go. Have a good evening. Peace out.